and welcome to another edition of the Big Nick Energy Podcast. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment on a bunch of things. Join our Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, the whole nine, blah, blah, blah. It's the playoffs. I don't even care about any of that stuff. You can like, share, subscribe if you want. If you don't want to. The Knicks and Cavs are tied at 1-1 right now. Your boy told you the series is going to 7, and I don't see anything that's going to make me not think it's going to 7. The first game happened, 101-97. The Knicks won. That was on Saturday. The Knicks and Cavs played again last night in game 2. The Knicks got destroyed. Cleveland was up 59-39 at the half. They ended up winning 107-90. Wow, what a series we've had so far. What a tale of two games, honestly. I'm going to start with game 1 because I like going in chronological order, and they won. So we're going to start with some good news. So on Saturday, the Knicks won 101-97. Jalen Brunson only played the first 9 minutes of the first half and got into foul trouble. He got 3 fouls. That's why he wasn't playing most of the time. He ended up with 27 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 pineapples, 2 partridges in a pear tree, and 2 girlfriends at the end of the night because he helped win the game. He got 21 of the 27 points in the second half because he didn't play a lot of the first half, and he was not yet a targeted turnstile on defense, which will be part of what happened in the second game. But that's besides the point. We're going to get there later. Randle came back looking like first quarter Randle. Had 19, 10, and 4. He did have 5 turnovers, which is also another issue we're going to have to talk about. He had 2 steals and the game-sealing offensive rebound off of Brunson miss with 6 seconds left in the game when the Knicks were up 99-97. Brunson tried to ice it with the game sealer, let's say. Didn't make it. Randle got the offensive board, passed out to Grimes. Clutch money from the young man. Quentin Grimes going 2 for 2 from the line. The last shot by Mitchell didn't matter whether it went in or not. The Knicks were going to win. Great end of the game, honestly, for game 1. Really loved it. To get into the rest of the stats, the other hero, let's say, who also unfortunately got a sprained ankle at the end of the game, which then definitely negatively affected him in the second game. Josh Hart with 17 and 10 rebounds, 5 of them being offensive boards. Mitchell Robinson had 8 rebounds, and 5 of those were offensive boards. Randle had 2 offensive rebounds, including the one I said before. Hartenstein had 2 offensive rebounds. What a Knicksy performance. Really, really good stuff. And then Obi Toppin, 9 points and 4 rebounds in 14 minutes for per 36 of borderline all-star talent. That's great stuff. That is phenomenal out of his 14 minutes. That's exactly what we needed. To go into the team stats, the Knicks shot 42% from the field, only 27.6% from 3, 8 of 29. That's not good. They were 19 of 22 from the free throw line, which is almost 87%. We're at 86.4, so that's solid. To get into the Cavs for the first game, they only had 97 points, like I said. So they went 36 of 83, 43.4%. They shot a little better from 3 than we did, 10 for 31 from 3, 32%, and 15 of 21 from the line. As you can see in this game, the Knicks had 22 free throws and the Cavs had 21 free throws. And Jalen Brunson, who was called out by Isaac Okoro, who barely played the second game, I just want to say, because he's going to be, he hasn't played well at all. He can't make his open shots. Being seen as a Brunson stopper per se isn't going to do good if they're playing 5-on-4 on the other end. And Karis LeVert, who played horrendous in the first game, had 3 points, going 1 of 7 from the field, had a phenomenal second game, as I'll get into in a little bit. And just really, really, Isaac Okoro, shut up, man. You don't play enough. And we didn't actually think you were going to play enough to be complaining the way you are. To say someone is foul baiting and does little antics, quote unquote, and gets 4 free throws against you in a game, the game before you say this, they're not bullying antics. You're just full of it. You're trying to get into the media, trying to get to the referees, which with the way the second game looked, it looked like all the Cavs complaining and saying that like the Knicks play a little too gritty or dirty or whatever. They hit us in the mouth first. The Cavs actually, there were like 4 different Knicks that were bleeding in the second game because of how often the Cavs just kept actually hitting them and not getting called for fouls. The Knicks got severely outplayed when we got there, by the way. That's not why they lost, but the Cavs definitely did some grimy, gritty BS media crap between game 1 and game 2. in order to be able to pull off all the things they really wanted to do. To finish game one, Donovan Mitchell, who did exactly what we all thought he would, he got put up 38 points. It did take him 30 shots to get there. He had 8 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, and a block. Darius Garland, who another guy who had a tale of 2 games, as we'll see, had 17 points. So not bad. Only 13 shots to get there, which is more efficient than Mitchell was. Only 1 assist and 5 turnovers. So not a good ratio. And you could tell he, for his first playoff performance, it seemed like a little over the top for the moment, honestly. He had 4 steals and a block. Jared Allen, who has played in the postseason before, 14 and 14. Him and Mitch and Ihart, like the center position as a whole, has kind of been a net neutral in the both games. Like there hasn't been a time in the first game where it seems like Allen was being severely outplayed. Like I think Mobley was the one that got more beat up on the boards, honestly. And like to get 14 rebounds and hold your own isn't against a guy that is taller than you, Mitchell Robinson or Isaiah Hartenstein. Nothing to sneeze at. I know Jared Allen is seen as a better player than both of those dudes, but that's because I've gone over this because of his offensive ability. And if he's not able to really use his offensive ability too much, like, I mean, it's nice to score 13 points, but scoring 13 or 14 points in a game is not, from a player, is not going to be the make or break. And Allen doing it on our centers isn't going to be, I think, what affects any game in this series. It's that position for both teams to make sure you don't lose the game from there, but you're not going to win it from there. Mobley in his first playoff game, 8 points, 11 rebounds. You could tell, especially in the first half, that he just wasn't ready for how strong Julius Randle is. Randle ended up with, I said it before, 19 points, but he had 16 of the 19 in the first half. He only had 3 points on 1 of 7 shooting in the second half. And of Randle's 5 turnovers, 4 of them were in the second half. So you can tell at halftime, Mobley and his coaches must have talked about a different game plan, getting a little more up on Randle, not letting him try to get a shot off as much, and just deal with the fact that he's going to drive into your chest, man. You have Jared Allen behind you. You have guys reaching in from the outside. Like, Randle's big. I know you're tall, but Randle's big. It's the watching them battle is going to be a pleasure for the next, what I think is still going to be 5 games. And then again, Isaac Okoro, only 6 points, and then only played 2.5 minutes the second game. So come on, Isaac. And then Karis LeVert, who tailored two games, 3 points on 1 of 7 shooting, had 24 points in game 2, which Karis LeVert, what the F, man? You're a great Jekyll and Hyde player. Not great. You are a Jekyll and Hyde player. As Nets fans will tell you, if there's any Nets fans that listen to this, they definitely know. You're like a slightly worse Spencer Dinwiddie with less playmaking, but the same irrational confidence one way or another. Yeah, but like the first, I just want to talk about the first game outside of stats real quick. It was great to watch. It was great to experience, and it felt way different than 2 years ago. Just even watching the team perform in any way. 2 years ago, COVID season, fans weren't there for 95% of the year. Then all of a sudden, it's basically a full house going into the playoffs. 4-5 matchup, and like as we've seen with the Hawks since then, it's amazing they made the Eastern Conference Finals that year. They barely even seem like a playoff team, as they're probably going to get swept by the Celtics that are already down 0-2 at the time of recording. And like to watch Trae Young be a villain and then Trae Young play now and be such a terrible net negative to his team. And remember that we were starting Alfred Payton across from him for game 1. And then we were starting, which Derrick Rose is awesome. We all love Derrick Rose, obviously. He's brought a lot to both New York and Chicago. More so Chicago. And then Memphis in college. Like, great player, great guy. Phenomenal NBA career, former MVP. He doesn't play now, and he wasn't like great enough to really be a postseason point guard starter 2 years ago. And neither the Hawks 2 years ago or the Knicks 2 years ago were really ready for the moment. The Hawks just had more shooters and more spacing, and Clint Capella ate up the fact the Knicks didn't have Mitch in that series because Mitch was out for that series. And you can just tell the difference. And then now, 2 years ahead, watching the first game against the Cavaliers, it doesn't feel like we don't belong. It doesn't feel like a fugazi or a facade or anything like that. It's like it felt like amazing intensity, playoff atmosphere. Even if you were watching the game live, or if you were at a bar or a restaurant, if you watched it on like your little 8-inch screen, cell phone screen, and you were at some family gathering and you're not even supposed to be watching it, and maybe you have a headphone in, maybe not, you could still sense or tell that there is an amazing atmosphere in that arena. Good for Cleveland, good for their fans. Like they've really brought it the first two games. Game 2 even more so than game 1. And I mean, when you're up 20 points at halftime, it's way easier to bring it in game 2. That's for sure. So let's get right into what the heck happened last night. I know this is going to come out Thursday, I think at midnight, actually. So technically when you hear this, it'll be 2 nights ago. But so for game 2 on Tuesday, the Cavs were up 59-39 at halftime. We watched Darius Garland torch us. The final score was 107-90. Garland had 32 points on 8 of 17 shooting and 10 of 11 from the line. Rough times. I didn't even split off his threes. I think he was 4 for 9 or something. I didn't write it down. 3 rebounds. He was a plus 29 for the game and had 26 of his 32 points in the first half. Watching Darius Garland shoot threes he actually has a little bit of like a Tyrese Halliburton, like low level, like slower. It's not even that fast of a release. He doesn't even shoot it that high. You would imagine that if the Knicks were actually more up on him, because a lot of it was like just dribble drive by Spider, and then Garland was open. Spider ended up with 13 assists, and he got 17 points on only 11 shots. Like they went into this with a whole different game plan. Donovan Mitchell got 38 points on 30 shots the first game. They're like, let's not do that again. Let's try some other stuff. We're going to get Garland going. We're going to try to get some other guys going. And by some other guys, apparently I meant Caris LeVert, which I know Cavs fans were hoping for a fifth person to show up some way, somehow. And I know Knicks fans were just like, that ain't happening. They only have their 4, and their 4 is more like a 2, and we're going to sweep them or win in 5. All of those things are just totally irrational fans. Caris LeVert's not going to show up for 7 games in a row. And the Knicks were never going to win this game in 4 or 5 series based on these two teams being matched up. Although the Cavs did seem super soft AF with all their interviews in between game 1 and game 2, like I said. But even by sounding soft and by making the refs be known, or refs know stuff, this was never going to be a short series. So yeah, Mitchell had 13 assists. A lot of them to Garland, a couple of them lobs to Mobley and Allen. Really, he controlled the pace of the game much more so like a point guard, and Garland played much more like a 2. And we got burnt for it. Garland and Mitchell would target Brunson or RJ in pick and roll. And just the second they got them on them, they almost never shot on the initial guy covering them. But whoever was covering them, by the way, before I get into complaining about RJ played a much, much better first game defensively. Like RJ Barrett in the first game defensively played similar to how we thought RJ would play defensively 2-3 years ago. His first time in the playoffs and then early on last year. And I know we don't know what's really happened with his overall game shooting or defensively since then, but he played a phenomenal defensive first game. So I want that to be 100% known and aware before I start complaining about him in this second game right now. Because Jalen Brunson also wasn't targeted nearly as much in the first game. And the two of them would just be put in action over and over. And then whoever they were in action against, usually against Mitchell, sometimes even against LeVert. Garland actually a lot of the times would be bringing the ball up and then getting off ball and then getting open shots from rotation and motion. And just, so yeah, so but they put one of the two guys in action. They break down the defense. They get inside, whether it's Randle rotating or Mitch Rob or iHeart rotating, or Grimes or Quickley, whoever the other guard is trying to come in, crash the paint from there. They ended up just leaving open shooters over and over again. And even if it wasn't the initial pass, the hockey pass just found Darius Garland's hands over and over again. And this dude did not miss enough. He didn't make every shot, but he sure as hell made enough to hurt. And also, He had more free throws in the first half than our whole team did, which really sucked. I'm pretty sure I don't have the exact first half number in front of me right now. I don't remember if he actually took all 11 of his free throws in the first half or it was only 9, but either way, at halftime, he had more free throws than our whole team did, and our team was bleeding a lot more than theirs was. So I don't know what that's about. Seems kind of messed up. Seems like this was going to go 1-1 into New York one way or another, even if it wasn't a blowout, but it was, so it's not really worth complaining about. To keep going from there, Mobley with 13 and 13, much better battling the boards inside. The Knicks did not out-rebound the Cavs in this game like they did the first game. In the first game, the Knicks out-rebounded the Cavs 51-38 and had a 17-11 offensive board edge. Like I was saying, with all the, 17-11, with all the things that like Hart got 5, Mitch Rob got 5 in the first game for offensive boards. That did not happen this game. The Knicks lost the rebounding battle 43-36. And the turnover battle ended up being tied. But when the game mattered, when it went into halftime 59-39, the Knicks had 14 of their 17 and the Cavs only had 7 of their 17. So in all due respect, the Knicks had already lost this game before the final score of turnovers ended up 17-17. They just got outplayed when the game mattered the most. Jarrett Allen actually ended up this game with 6 offensive boards. He ended up going 9 and 10. And then I just want to laugh at Isaac Okoro. He only played 3 minutes after playing 22 in game 1 and got 0 points in his 3 minutes. Ha ha. I think Isaac Okoro has a good NBA career in front of him, by the way. I just also thought it was a little overblown that Cavs fans thought that he would be the Jalen Brunson stopper when it's more likely to not play if you can't score at all than it is for you to be on the floor in a Tony Allen role like this is 2014 or 2013, and the final score might be 92-88. The Knicks only scored what seemed like a 92-88 like score when they got 90 points and lost the game by 17, but for the most part, if there is no, your center could be the only guy that isn't scoring consistently. And even then, Mitchell Robinson, catch the ball, man. Why did you turn into Mitchell Noel? What the heck is happening out there? Too many Butterfingers? You went Brucey in the longest yard on me? Like, dude, what are you doing? Catch the ball. Not only on rebounds, like get drop passes and catch the effing ball. Sorry, Mitch. I love you. But seriously, catch the effing ball. To go back to game 2 stats. Where was I? Oh, yeah, LeVert. Caris LeVert. Damn. 24 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. 9 of 16 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3, which if I was to guess the last time Caris LeVert made 4 threes in the game, I'm probably going back a couple months, I would imagine. It's not something that happens consistently. And he had 11 points in the first half with a team high plus 22 going into halftime. And I don't care about plus minus too much, but to be plus 22 and then the direct opposite of him, who Josh Hart, who helped us win game 1, the same way Caris LeVert helped them win game 2, as in not being one of the 2 best players, being a tertiary piece, actually helping take over offensively. Josh Hart was a minus 21 going into half and only had 2 points this game and played on a sprained ankle. And unlike Julius Randle, who had over 2.5 weeks to prepare from a sprained ankle, Josh Hart gave himself 3 days, and for all of the giddy up and the hard fought drive and pizzazz and the driving and the catching the rebound and speeding up the court, which he did do once this game. I do remember him specifically doing it one time this game early in the third quarter when the Knicks were trying to actually make it be a game again instead of it just being all the fourth quarter is garbage time. But outside of that, he had 2 points in the first half and was a minus 21. Not good. Not good at all. And that's with being minus 21 when your team's down 20. No one on the team was good. Deuce McBride was the only person with a plus minus in this game. He played 2 minutes and was a +3 and had 0 stats. So maybe he's the real game changer after all. Check out our Twitter, and then you can watch Deuce McBride be all reliable on a SpongeBob meme. Jalen Brunson was 26 and 5. He shot only 5 of 17 from the field, which is 29 effing %. No good. He did go 9 of 10 from the free throw line. I'm pretty sure a lot of those came in the second half based on Darius Garland having more free throw attempts than us in the first half, and 4 steals. Randle was 22 and 8. A lot of this also came in the second half. 4 offensive rebounds. He had 6 turnovers in the past 3 halves of play. So taking out the first half of game 1, when he only had 1 turnover, he's had 10 turnovers in the last 3 halves. And his current assist to turnover ratio is like 1 to 2.8 or something. Like, Randle, I'm not saying you're playing like Beyblade Randle, but if there's like you're not spinning into triple teams right now, you're just you and Immanuel Quickley. Like, if you guys could have like a never attempt a jump pass challenge, I'm all for it, honestly. I think Clyde Frazier is also all for it because the amount of times either he has said or has wanted to say cross-court passes should never be allowed during the first 2 games of this series alone, more so by our team than their team, even though some of them have worked for us. He's probably had a reason to say it about 15 times. And I think 8 or 9 of them, because this is the playoffs and because teams are trying harder, scouting you and paying more attention to trying to throw the ball from one side of the 3-point line to the other side of the 3-point line, is significantly higher. So if we could just, both you, Quickley and Randle, you guys just stop doing that, that'd be really nice. The Office Space really nice meme. That would be really nice. RJ Barrett ended up with 14 points on 4 of 13 shooting, or 31%, which is slightly better than Brunson's 29%. 6 of 7 from the free throw line. One thing I have noticed with these is that we are making our free throws the first 2 games, which if I was to imagine how we would have been blown out in a game, it would have been us shooting like 60% from the stripe for the game we get blown out, and that was not the case at all. We just got out rebounded and out turnovered when it mattered. And what else? Oh, we got Quickley, who put up the most BS 12 points I've ever heard or seen on a stat line for a playoff game I've seen in a long time. He had 0 points in the first half, and he had 3 points on 3 free throws in the first game. So he has yet to make a field goal with the game being within 15 points. So in this series. So IQ, we're going home now. You're going to be in MSG. And as we're going to get into in a little bit, your stats at home, much like the other stats of other what end up being role players at this stage in your career, your age, your playoff experience at home, is significantly higher. Oddly enough, when I get into it later, Karis LeVert is actually better on the road than at home, and he also has both playoff experience and he's a veteran at this point. So that kind of makes sense, but we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, Quickley scored 10 of his 12 points in the fourth quarter when the whole quarter was effectively garbage time. It is nice for him to watch the ball go through the hoop, especially after what the first 2 games were. But I'm watching this. We're all seeing this dude pick up his dribble in times that he would have done that 2 years ago or last year, not this year. He's been way better at it. He's getting into floater range and actually being given space by Mobley and Allen, because that's literally their scouting report on how they play defense. A lot of teams that have been tops in defense in the league in the past 8 to 10 years, including the Cavs, the Knicks did it a few years back. Kind of. They actually got more lucky at 3-point misses, but for the most part, defenses try to cover the 3-point line and then pack the paint. And the mid-range, if you want to shoot and make it or shoot and miss, the mid-range is the least efficient shot there is in basketball, which I'm putting air quotes up because in the playoffs, it's not quite true. You need to make it wherever you can. It's not the regular season. The effort level is different. Getting open is harder in the playoffs, as we all seen in the past 2 days. If you're in your floater range, man, or your little pull out, like your little fadeaway you added this year from the free throw line or free throw line extended, take the shot. Just take the shot. I don't care if you're 0 for 5. Your whole thing about being the potential 6th man of the year is that you got here by scoring. You got better at playmaking. You got better at distributing. But you are supposed to be kind of a microwave. Your favorite player is Lou Williams. Play like him. Just play like him. Like, what are you doing? You're not Rajon Rondo, like running through the defense in 2012, trying to probe for a better behind the back pass. Put the ball up. Just put the ball up. I don't even care if it goes in or not. We have an offensive rebounding advantage for the most part. We have a rebounding advantage for the most part. Just shoot it, and then let Mitch, Rob, and Randle try to catch the miss. Let Hart jump in, RJ catch in and try to catch your miss. Just put the ball up. I don't care if you make it. Don't be scared to shoot. If you're scared to shoot, and your defense isn't good enough to actually stop Garland from doing what the hell he just did in the last game, then you're not going to be on the court, man. And this, not the same idea of how to stay on the court, but Barrett and Grimes and Hart, which Hart at least had the good game one. But RJ, Quinn, and Quick IQ, all three of you, you need to be willing to shoot and make plays. I don't care if you're 0 for 8. I don't care if you have 4 turnovers. If you're on the court, you cannot play scared. If you play scared, we're screwed. Because Randle might shoot below 40% the whole series, man. Evan Mobley's like second in defensive player of the year voting for a reason. He's not bad. 6'11", 7'4" wingspan, second in voting, really good defender. And if Randle keeps trying to drive on him and runs into Jared Allen, he might get to 25 points. It's going to be ugly when he does it. JB is going to still get his 25 and 5. He needs that to get that up to 25 and 6. And he definitely needs to shoot better than 29%. Or he's shooting 16.7% from 3 in this series, which is definitely not good enough to do anything well for us to win. But we know the two of them are going to show up. And whether they show out or not is one thing. But we know they're both going to put the shots up. And then however the shots fall, they fall. But IQ, RJ, and QG, you guys need to be willing to shoot when you have a chance. You have to. I think this is going 7. But if we end up losing to the Cavs in 5 or 6, it's because none of you stepped up. And Hart, if you are actually hurt or like anything, which I think you'll be fine. There's so much rest in between these games. You played game 2 and you started out doubtful. Maybe you could have sat out game 2. I mean, minus 21 in the first half, only 2 points. I think he had 1 rebound at that time. Probably not the most useful asset to our team to be on the court, but at least you had your one good game. I said it earlier. I don't know if I said it on a podcast or just over Twitter. We have 4 main scoring or like playmaking based role players, as in they're not bigs. They're not Mitch or iHeart. IQ, QG, RJ, and Josh Hart. Each of them only need to have one great game. One great game each. And as long as the Knicks each win each one of their great games, assuming Randle and Brunson give you a combined 45 or 50 on like at least 44% shooting, and Julius Randle, for the love of God, stop turning the ball over like I said 10 minutes ago. Just stop throwing across the court. But as long as each of those 4 guys has one great game, we win the series. And I think it's going to be 4-3 still. I'm still standing by that. A few notes for game 3 real quick. So game 3 is Friday at 8:30 in MSG. And Sunday game 4 is at 1 p.m. at MSG. We'll be doing our next podcast Wednesday, either Tuesday or Wednesday morning, because I want to get it out before game 5, when I fully expect this series to be 2-2 going back into Cleveland. But a few positive notes and a few things for us to look up for, because role players really do play way better in the playoffs at home than on the road. Karis LeVert, be damned. Darius Garland shoots 49%, 43% from 3, and 91% from the free throw line at home on the season. So 49, 43, 91. All of these numbers go significantly enough down on the road. His 49% total turns into 43. His 43% three-pointer turns into 39. And the biggest drop off, his free throw shooting goes down 9% to 82% on the road. Darius Garland's 23 years old and just had the game of his life thus far. When it comes to importance and overall shooting and ability, he's had better playmaking games, but whatever. His overall gameplay between pressing RJ defensively, pressing IQ defensively, which I didn't even get into a lot of the defensive stuff from game 2, but like outside of how RJ and Brunson got targeted, Randle got back up quite a bit by Mobley in like certain spots. By Mobley actually got up to 13 points instead of 8 in game 1. Allen just will score 13 or 14 a game, regardless of what happens, whether he gets blocked 5 times or not, whatever. But for the Cavs defense, Garland almost basically blocked up Barrett and Quickley at various points in this game. I think he picked IQ's pocket in what it might have been like the loudest or second loudest moment in the whole game. He made RJ get into a couple turnovers and the whole thing. Like, if we're supposed to imagine RJ has an advantage offensively on Darius Garland, it's because he should be able to post them up significantly stronger. But if he's trying to drive like face to face on him, instead of putting his back to the basket or anything like that, and Garland's just faster and going to get to the spot before RJ even does, like, not good. And Quentin Grimes put up a shot for the love of God when it matters. Stop going 1 for 4 and then being scared to shoot again. Please. But Mitchell wasn't as bad. Like, Mitchell in game 2 was Brunson game 1. It's like you would imagine Donovan Mitchell is the guy you try to target, but they didn't really get to targeting him that much in game 2. We didn't put him in a lot of action. I mean, he only put up, 17 points, right? He had 13 assists. Like, we didn't make Donovan Mitchell work at all this game. He didn't have to shoot that much. He, like, probably had more fun in game 2 than game 1, even outside of winning the game. Like, I'd rather personally go 17 and 13 and win than go 38 points and have a chance to win the game. Even if he won the game, it's like, that's just 13 assists just is so much nicer to me personally. But yeah, we didn't put him in any action. We didn't make him do nearly enough work. And we didn't put Darius Garland in any compromising positions. Why don't we use Randle as a pick and roll guy more? Why we should get Brunson Randle pick and rolls going, especially if Darius Garland is covering Brunson. Like, if they're going to trap Brunson and you can, like, throw it to QG or IQ, whoever's there, and then Randle's rotating and he's going fast enough that Garland has to follow him instead of Mobley being able to recover all the way from the top, like the top bottom of the screen if you're staring on a TV. Like, if Brunson's looking front left to the basket from the wing, like near the half court line, and Mobley's trying to trap him and he's running from there all the way to cover Randle in the paint, at that point, he's not going to make it. Garland has to follow him. Let's put this dude in. He's small. He's so small. And if RJ can't take advantage of his size, put the next biggest guy up on him. Let's get Randle to do it. Right? I mean, what are we doing? We run ISO offense. We run, the whole thing is that the Knicks do is limit turnovers, which we haven't been able to do, and hunt mismatches. And we did both of those relatively well in game 1, and we didn't do either of those things well in game 2. And that's how we got to the result we got to offensively. We only got 39 points at half. Only got 90 points in the game. When we averaged like 113 points or whatever on the year, and the average scoring in the league was like 110 or 112. I don't remember the final numbers, but we scored 20 points less than that because we didn't do what we're supposed to do. Let's not shoot on Evan Mobley as much as humanly possible. Let's not try to drive into Mobley and Allen constantly and over again unless we actually got one of them pinned on us and it's going to be only one guy in the paint and not both of them making a wall. We're all fouls. If I'm the Knicks, part of foul baiting involves outside the game. I know I'm doing this before I watch a lot of like the upcoming 2 or 3 day press conferences, obviously. But hey, if the Knicks can just start doing a little whack showmanship that the Cavs have in the past couple of days prior to game 2. Yeah, no, we were bleeding and they just didn't call fouls. Yeah, no, they pushed me down. They didn't call a foul on it. What Jared Allen did was kind of BS at the end of the game to Julius Randle. Like, you're up 23 points and you're just trying what? Were you going to block him on a breakaway? Like, maybe. Probably not. Also, there's 2.5 minutes left and you're up 23 points. Is there any real purpose to that? The game's over. Separately, Tibbs, why? You've done so well for so long. You've amazed a lot of us that want to be or are doubters of you. And then to leave, you left starters in a game that we're down 23 with like 2 minutes left. And I watched the Suns coach, Monty Williams, literally took out his starters in like a 12-point game with like a minute and a half left. They still had a chance to win. He started taking Kawhi out and Russ out. Like, you're down 22, or 20. Like, oh my God, dude. Like, if Randle actually got hurt on that, 1, the series would be over. We would actually probably go down in 5 or 6. And 2, The fire Tibbs. Tibbs doesn't know how to coach. Tibbs doesn't make adjustments. Boo Birds would be so loud as a narrative, so unbelievably loud and insane. But thankfully, Randle doesn't seem more hurt. Thankfully, we don't play again until Friday, which gives Hart 2 more days from the time I'm recording, 1 more day from the time you listen to this to recover. And we're going to MSG. We're going home. We are going home. I only said how the Cavs do worse shooting. Let's get into how much better our players shoot when they get home. RJ shoots 3% higher on his 3-pointers and 7% higher on his free throws in MSG than he does on the road. Grimes shoots 4% higher from 3 at home. He shoots over 40% in MSG. Quickley, who I really think if we actually end up winning this series, we need him to be the next man to show up, to really show out. You got 3 points game 1. You got 12 points that were kind of BS in game 2. We need a 20-pointer, man. We need a 20.4, 4 assists, 5 rebound type of game, or 25 and 4, one way or the other type of game out of you. Quickley shoots 5% better overall and 2% better from 3 at home. And Hart, who, thank God he showed up and showed out in game 1, he shoots 4% better overall and 7% better from 3 at home and 4% better from the free throw line. And again, those 4 guys, we need them each to show up at least 1 time, and Hart already did. I would love if they all could show up at least 2 times and make major contributions and a couple wins. But I think our top 2 in our defense, again, if they all score, if Brunson and Randle can combine for 50, 55 points, and we get one of those 4 to show up each game, and then our defense holds true and Mitch and I hard do their job inside, and Grimes and Quickley keep harassing dudes outside, and Brunson doesn't get trapped in the half court or near half court on offense and doesn't get put constantly in pick and roll action on defense, I think we're good. I still think the Knicks win in 7. I'm going to stand by that. But I do. So last thing I want to say before I go. It's in my head, I don't know if anyone else thinks this or follows this, but in my head, I have these players on these teams grouped together in various ways. Donovan Mitchell's the best, but I do put, I expect Brunson and Randle to give me more or less the same thing every game. I do think I have to temper that a little bit for this series specifically because it is the playoffs and the Cavs are the number 1 net rated defense in the league, and Mobley and Allen are really effing good at their jobs. But Donovan Mitchell, who's averaged over 27 and 10, and Brunson and Randle, who are at 20 and 9 and 23 and 4, respectively, I expect them all to do basically the same thing. I do need Randle to get over 40% shooting this series, and I need Brunson to do the same thing, but specifically to shoot better than 16.7% from 3 so far. But those 3, I don't expect them. I expect any of them to be able to take over a game. They're not going to be the swing factors. None of them are X factors for why a team wins or loses a game or this series. The next guys I have all grouped in a large conglomerate. And I am not including Jared Allen, Mitchell Robinson, or Isaiah Hartenstein, because I was going over I said this before. While I think Allen is probably the best overall of those 3 players, I think what Mitch and Ihart do to Jared Allen defensively, and then how all 3 of them help anchor their team's defenses as in general, they more or less cancel each other out. I don't expect Jared Allen to outplay our centers at any real point in this series. And while I expect our centers to definitely do better rebounding and be able to keep Jared Allen off the boards as much, 6 offensive boards can't happen again. Just the same way they probably think Mitch Rob can't get 5 offensive boards again, honestly. So I think those guys all more or less cancel each other out. So the rest I have grouped more or less together. Not necessarily that they're role players for their teams overall, but between the youth, inexperience in the postseason, we're about to see 2 of them on the road for the first time for the Cavs, and we have no clue what they'll do in that atmosphere. As I already mentioned how one of them does significantly worse shooting in Darius Garland. I put these guys all together. Garland, I think, is the best out of all the guys I'm going to mention. But again, he has significantly worse road shooting splits than at home. And he's 23 years old, the secondary ball handler for his team. A lot of the times the primary ball handler and facilitator for his team. But he's about to go into a road environment in the postseason for the very first time. He might go into his shell like a turtle. We don't honestly know. And then Evan Mobley's the other guy for the Cavs. Same scenario. He's 21 years old, never been in the postseason before, has all this hype as such a great defensive stopper now. Going into MSG, Madison Square Garden, the Mecca, the world's greatest, nay, the loudest arena there is in the NBA when the Knicks are popping. And neither one of those two dudes know what the F they're in for. They literally have no clue. Whether Mobley ends up putting up like 20 and 12 on like 60% shooting and gets 4 blocks in a game, maybe. I would be amazed based on his age and everything, but maybe. Whether Garland can put up like the same exact game he just did, put up 34 points, shoot 60% from the field, maybe even add in like 5 or 6 assists, keep his turnovers below 3. Maybe. I doubt it. Maybe I would expect that. I would expect both of them to do that way more so 3-4 years from now, but I highly doubt it currently. The same way that if you ask the Cavs fan, do they think, so Josh Hart being the most experienced for the Knicks, I know none of them really had, I know RJ and IQ made the postseason before and both played, but again, that whole thing is just honestly so far in the rear view window, and we learned so little about this current team from that. But Josh Hart had the most experience or has the most experience going in to the playoffs out of any of these players. And I think that's part of the reason why he showed out game 1 as I get the sun in my eyes now. Perfect. But IQ, Josh Hart, RJ, and Quentin Grimes, they all shoot worse and play worse on the road. They're all at home now. So between those 4 and the Cavs 2, I said, again, I think Garland's the best player out of the 6 of them overall. And Mobley, if you include defense, probably the second best player out of the 6 of them overall. But we don't know. We have no clue what these 6 guys are going to do night to night because it's the playoffs, because of youth and inexperience. There's a strong chance we go into game 3 and we come out like, holy crap, Immanuel Quickley just did what Garland did game 2. Shoot 45% from 3, shoot 60% from the field, just make plays all over. They can't even keep up with them. It seems like every time Brunson and Randle drove, whether it was an assist or a hockey assist, IQ banged the 3. We just hear Mike Breen bang over and over again. Quentin Grimes puts up 25 points, goes 6 of 10 from 3, has a couple great defensive stops, a couple steals, holds Mitchell at the end of the game. Garland can't take advantage of RJ. He can't use his speed. RJ uses his strength the right way. RJ bullies his way for a 23 and 11. I mean, I don't think RJ's going to get 11 rebounds, but all right, we'll do like 23, 6 and 4. Like plays like the mini young Jimmy Butler that the biggest RJ stans believe he can be one day. Shoots over 50%, goes, I don't know, 3 for 8, 4 for 9 from 3. Does what we all want out of our 3rd overall pick. Josh Hart gets 5 offensive boards again. Gets another 17 and 10. Could play the exact same game on a better angle. Literally just do game 1, turn that into game 3 or game 4. Out of these 6 dudes, we literally have no effing idea what is going to happen in the next 2 games. Even the next series. The rest of the series, honestly. We have no idea what's going to happen. But yeah, I am super excited. Again, just for everyone to know, game 3, Friday. I think it's at 8:30. If I remember correctly, let me just look real quick and pretend I did my job mediocrely well. I call this a job, but not quite yet. One day, baby. Game
That's 3.
You
should like and subscribe so Joey can get paid.
Exactly. Like and subscribe so I can get paid. Hey, yo. We'll do Patreon one day. Hey, Patreon a Patron, baby. Drink, gug.
I like it.
What?
I like it. Patreon a Patron.
Patron should own Patreon, right? Isn't that a thing? I like how you're back for like some funny crap, by the way. Do you like how the sun's in my eyes now that you're here?
Yeah. Sorry, everybody watching. I'm not editing this part. So
it's midday. It's 2:05 when we're recording, and there was no sun in my window when we started, and now there's sun. So now I know not to record
Joey,
between 1:15 and 2:05.
I
Hold on a second. Last thing I want to say before you cut me off. 8:30 Friday, the 21st is game 3. 1 p.m. Sunday, daytime. I'm going to be flying back from Miami, so I'll have to watch the replay. Game 4. And Wednesday is game 5. We're going to record again before Wednesday. We will get another pot up before game 5. And like I said, I think it's going to be 2-2. Then what were you saying?
Oh, you literally just answered it. I was going to go for shits and giggles because you said that, there's no prediction. There's nothing predictable can happen. I wanted to hear your prediction.
Oh yeah, I've been holding firm on this. This is going 7 games. I don't care. Also, I think it's hilarious that like when Cavs fans bring up their net rating on the year, that they had like the 3rd best net rating in the league, but they also had like a losing record against playoff teams. It's like they either won by 20 or lose by 5, but a win is a win and a loss is a loss. I think the Knicks win this series 4-3 and the Cavs outscore them by like 40 points.
I'll take
but it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Listen, I don't know if you've been in spaces lately, and I'm sorry for being on the pod unannounced, but after game 1, the Twitter consensus by Cavs fans is that Karis LeVert was going to show up, and there was so much pushback on that.
Dude, fans know their own team very well.
And with that being said, expect a Quickley 25 piece.
That's what I mean. Quickley and QG are both going to have their moment in the next 2 games. If it's the same game, then we're almost guaranteed to win that game, which would be nice. But Quickley and Grimes are both going to have their moment in the next 2 games. And I know you're going to call me crazy, Vin, especially with a lot of your takes on RJ. I think when we get to game 7 and the Knicks do win game 7, it's because that's when RJ actually does the 23-7-4 I referenced like 5 minutes ago. I think we're going to get there.
I got one thing because Ice Spice, we know you're listening. Can you call Immanuel? Just call him. Call him, see how he's doing.
Ice Spice, if you're listening, Venmo me $1,000, woman. Help me get this paid.
Ice Spice, we know you're listening. We need you at the next 2 home games.
We do, 100%. You need to sit front row and have Immanuel Quickley turn into his craziest, stupidest Jordan Poole self when Jordan Poole decides to show out in front of women and not for the NBA playoffs. Ice Spice show up. Knicks in 7. We're going to come back 2-2. And with that is another episode of the Big Knick Energy Podcast. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment on YouTube, Apple Pods, Spotify, Podbean, and iTunes. Apparently, we get a lot of downloads on there. Join our Facebook group at Big Knick Energy. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter at Big Knick Energy _, Instagram at Big Knick Energy. And follow us on TikTok at Big Knick Energy 1. We have 3 videos up on there so far. We're going to add more as the playoffs go. Follow us everywhere. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let's go Knicks. Knicks in 7.
Hey, wait.
Peace.
Before you go, hey, everybody who's listening to this and does have social media, if you could comment Joey Solo pod on it, just to know that you guys are connecting on each end. We'll do something special for you guys on the next pod.
Yes. I love it. Ben will think of the idea, but I'll do whatever it is. Let's go Knicks. Peace.